Grateful for the opportunity to present this bill, Assembly Bill 2043, which addresses the occupational safety and health of our state's agricultural workers amidst this COVID-19 health crisis we're under. Every day, farm workers across our state rise early, leaving behind their families to pack in crowded some buses. They work shoulder to shoulder in the fields. Their days are long ones. The work they do is hard. It breaks down your body over time. And my grandfather who raised me, he was a farm worker. And I saw how hard he worked over 50 years of his life as a farm worker. He did this work day in and day out. And he did it for barely enough money to make ends meet. And as we all know, many farm workers are undocumented here in California and in the United States. They lack access to the health care that many of us take for granted. Unfortunately, chronic health conditions among farm workers are very, very common. And viruses can spread quickly. You see, it's not just that farm workers work in close proximity to each other. It's that they handle the same equipment and the tractors and the machines that they use, but they also live in close proximity to one another. Several families to one apartment or a single-family home, where workers and their families sublet rooms, garages, sheds, whatever space is made available here in the Golden State of California. If someone gets sick, it's hard to keep them separated. They can't shelter in place. They can't social distance. And as long as this pandemic continues, our farm workers are at risk. And I believe we have a moral duty to protect our most vulnerable here in California. And as we have seen in other states, other food-related industries, a COVID-19 outbreak in our farm worker populations, in our communities, they would threaten our food supply, not only our state food supply, our national food supply. Farmers, agricultural employers, they're our partners in this effort. Most of them understand the risk that their workers, that farm workers face every single day. They care about their employees and they want to keep them safe. The problem is that our state, our country, we were clearly unprepared to handle the historic public health crisis that we're experiencing. And right now we have a patchwork of safety guidance across our state. And such guidance can be different from county to county, and it's not always clear or standardized. And so this bill is designed to create a clear, uniform standard that applies to all agricultural workers in California. It'll make things easier for farmers who want to implement best practices, and it'll keep farm workers safe, which is in everyone's best interest. We shouldn't be making these these guidance decisions on a county-by-county level. It's too inconsistent, too uneven, it's too complicated for farmers, and it leaves too many farm workers and their families at risk. We need a single, robust set of statewide guidelines to protect agricultural workers from COVID-19. This legislation, it does that by addressing this issue in three ways. First, it requires agricultural employers to implement Cal OSHA's already established and disseminated COVID-19 health and safety guidelines for agricultural employees, but guidelines on their own are not enforceable. And so second, the bill also directs Cal OSHA Standards Board to adopt occupational health and safety standards for COVID-19 infection prevention, standards that can be enforced.
30 seconds.
Such standards will include but not be limited to sanitation practices, personal protective equipment, and physical distancing requirements. And third, this bill implements a targeted outreach campaign to agricultural workers on these best practices to stay safe from COVID-19. Look, we need to do better in this state. And as I mentioned, since the federal government deemed farm workers as essential, we've seen a patchwork of agricultural workplace safety guidance in our state. What this bill is asking for isn't much. Many farm workers have been given little information about how to protect themselves, and in some areas of this state, the plan to keep farm workers safe is unclear. Emergency standards are what we need to address this issue now before farm workers get sick and our food supply is threatened. But we must also stay clear-eyed about what we need to do here to protect our most vulnerable farm workers, essential workers who have put their life on the line for all of us so we could keep food on our tables during this pandemic. That's what this bill is all about. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Respectfully ask for an aye vote.